Hi everybody, it's your girl Jacqueline Bell, and for those of you that don't know who I am a divorcee, and I do blogs and vlogs like this that share resources and tips that have been helpful for me along my divorce journey, but I also share just about life and how life's going, things that help in your everyday lifestyle type of thing. So I like to be as well-rounded as possible, and hopefully all that I share with all of you is helpful and useful in some way, whether you're a divorcee or not. So I really just want to share as much as I can and hope that it helps someone along the way. So today I want to talk to you all about one of my blog posts. Actually, that blog post is called Adjusting to Life on Your Own. So, as some of you may know, having been married and being with my partner for about 5.5 years, you can get accustomed to being with someone, living with someone for that long, that having to make that adjustment to living on your own again can be quite jarring, especially as some of you may know, and if you don't know, you can scroll back to one of the beginning episodes from my channel, specifically the one entitled What Happened, because everybody always asks what happened, and that will share with you how quickly my divorce actually did happen. So for me, it was a very abrupt change within my relationship, within my marriage. So it was a lot to take in and a lot to do at one time. So I wanted to bring up to all of you some of the three things that I felt were the largest challenges to overcome, and also my solution on how I overcame them. So hopefully it'll be helpful to all of you. So for those of you that don't know, when I was married to a chef. So my first challenge was going from sous chef to top chef. Yes, I had to do that for myself. But it might sound silly, but it was quite big for me because, to be honest, as you can see in the pictures, I was very accustomed to having very nice meals and very healthy meals at that. And I would help from time to time in creating some of those meals. And I learned a lot along the way from my ex-husband as well, and how to create these variations of dishes and how to cook things, how to cook a turkey, how to create Buddha bowls, which I never had because I'm Filipino and my family doesn't eat too much veggies, but thankfully now they do. I wasn't, my issue was I just didn't know how to do that for myself, and I didn't know if I could do that for myself, because honestly, the husband made most of the food, but he's also a chef, right? So it was a delight at the time, but when I had to go back to trying to hold on to anything that I could that would give me some sense of what life used to be, I tried to grab on to how I could start making some of these recipes for myself and put my own spin on it. And my solution was to trust myself. I had been the sous chef to my husband chef for a while, and it really just took me pushing myself to be in the kitchen and think through what I wanted to make and how I wanted to make them, and then make it my own. And pretty soon I was making dishes that I loved, as I always had loved, that worked for me and for my new lifestyle. And that was really exciting and really great. Buddha bowls are one of my favorite things to eat, to create for myself, because they're very healthy and they're very hearty. So that's been great. And it was empowering. It was empowering to know that I could do it for myself. But you just have to trust in yourself. You have to trust in yourself that you can feed yourself. You can be healthy still. Because at that time as well, I was also going through a bit of a eating conscious lifestyle. I would say I wasn't eating enough. I would actually say that, because I was in a very depressed state. So that helped me get back to feeling good about myself and feeling good about the food that I was eating and putting in my body. So trust yourself, okay? So the second challenge that I had was to enjoy my own company. I went from living in my house with my ex-husband to living in an apartment all by myself. And that sounds like it'd be so great. And I think for a lot of people out there, when you get divorced, I think that's something that they're waiting for. And honestly, well, at first it wasn't exciting because what really scared me was, and this was the biggest challenge, was the silence, right? I grew up in a Filipino household with lots and lots of people. I'm one of 3 children. I have 5 nieces and nephews. I have 10 cousins on like both sides. And more when you count my extended family because we're also close. So it was a lot to be accustomed to now just living on my own, which I hadn't done in a while. And I was doing so in a circumstance that was a bit more stressful. So in that case, in that challenge of silence and having to try to deal with that silence, my solution to all of you is fill it. If you're someone like me that's an extrovert and you're like, I don't do well with silence, fill that silence with whatever it is that you can, whether it's turning on your favorite TV show, talking to a friend, talking to a family member. Maybe it is turning on your music. Oh my gosh, I turned on my music and my podcast all the time. I had so many dance parties by myself because it was so much fun to do that and just like play my music like high and loud and just dance in front of my mirror and talk about how awesome I am, because that's one of the things that I like to do. That helped me a lot. It helped with my confidence. It helped me fill the space. And then the podcasts that I would listen to helped me continue to grow my mind and heal. I was focusing on a lot of healing at that time, a lot of healing podcasts, and just making sure that I could fill whatever silence or void I had in order for me to feel like I wasn't missing something. And that was really helpful for me. So hopefully it'll be helpful for you too. And lastly, the big challenge that I had that I was dreading actually when I moved into my new apartment was sleeping solo. And it might not sound like a big thing, but it was a pretty big thing for me because you get accustomed to living a certain way and then having to manage sleeping alone at that time, especially, or just not just sleeping alone, but being all by yourself is a challenge, is pretty daunting. And there's no better way of also saying like, oh, you're all by yourself as is also sleeping by yourself alone in your bed. Now, I will say one of the ways I combated my sadness and sleeping by myself, because I feel like every time I went to bed in the beginning was a reminder of me being alone, which back then was sad, but now I'm like, oh my gosh, it was amazing. You know, like I ended up loving sleeping with myself because I understood that it takes time and that your mindset is very important. So time, mindset. The keys to what made that experience of transition to sleeping solo so great. Over time, I was training my mind to think of all the things that were good about that situation, right? Like that I'm no longer sleeping next to someone that doesn't want to sleep next to me, and I'm no longer having to share my bed, okay? Or your blanket, okay? That's real. Because in time, again, your body has to adjust, your mind has to adjust to this new way of living, this new reality that you have. But also, your mindset's really important. So, in the beginning stages of when I was starting to live with myself, I knew I just had to wipe myself out at the end of the day. So I was so busy, y'all. I was busy with work. I just immersed myself into work. And I also made sure that I went out with my coworkers after work. I went out with my friends. I went out with my family. I made sure I was doing things after work. If I got home, I was busy doing something, whether it was like a project, starting my blog, practicing calligraphy, whatever it was, that I was going to keep my mind preoccupied so that by the end of the night, I would pass out. And believe me, I passed out so many times because I tired myself out. But you fill the time, you work on your mindset. I read a lot, right? I read a lot that helped clear my mind, helped me reflect. I did my journals, and all those things together with time and proper mindset helped me get accustomed and really embrace, honestly, sleeping solo. So hopefully those tips for all of you, gave you some insight if you're not someone that is divorced. Hopefully, if you are someone that is divorced, this gave you some peace of mind. But either way, I just hope that you all enjoyed some of my tips and some of my transparency about things that I went through in my divorce. And hopefully you found it useful for yourself as well. I only make these videos so that I can help anyone else out there that's going through this, or someone that's interested in knowing what the experience is like, because I believe that we need to talk about this more. We need to release the stigma of divorce, because it's a lot more common than people think, and really talk about it and really own it, and not stigmatize or belittle anyone that has been divorced. So thank you all for watching another episode of the Divorcee Diaries YouTube channel. I hope you'll check out my blog. If you haven't already, please hit the like button. That really helps the algorithms and other people finding this blog as well. And please subscribe if you haven't already. Also, leave a comment, a question in the comments below. I always love seeing them. And I thank you all so much for another episode of the Divorcee Diaries. Have a great one.